Yes, people, you know the face, you know the name. Aaron here, back again with another video. Shout out to everybody tuning in as per usual. Road to 15K is still underway. 14.8 something, 846, I think. So massive shout out to everybody now supporting the channel, man. I really appreciate you guys. And if you want to continue and carry on supporting the channel, you know what to do. Like, share, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. You're helping the channel massively by doing these things. Now listen, let's go straight to business. The interview. I don't know if I should say long awaited. Was it long awaited? Yeah, because United fans have never really seen their owners come out and speak in such manner. And when I say that, I mean that Gary Neville sat down with Sir Jim Ratcliffe and they had an exclusive interview for about 43 to 44 minutes. And they pretty much covered a lot of stuff that United fans have been talking about or asking questions about or expressing concerns about. And it was a very good interview, I have to say. Gary Neville asked a lot of good questions, it was well thought through. Do you know what I mean? He really thought about that one. It wasn't just one of them interviews where he sits down and just asks generic questions. Like, he really went into detail. So on that, I have to, big up Gary Neville, because, not many people would be able to do that. Do you know what I mean? Or not many people would go in there with an objective mind, even though he wanted to ask these questions, which he did, and kind of grilled Sir Jim Ratcliffe. He kept it very professional, which is something that I really liked. So yeah, but listen, I made a few notes as well, so I don't forget what I wanted to talk about. The first thing I want to talk about is, and a lot of people are not going to like this, but I actually have to big Ratcliffe up. If I'm honest, I have to big him up, man. Sir Jim Ratcliffe, it takes a lot of cojones to come out and speak like that, especially if you're involved in anything surrounding Manchester United, because not many people have had the courage, not even courage, forget the courage. Not many people have had the BALLS to come out and speak on certain topics, and he did. And that was always something that was something that I noticed with Ratcliffe. He's always very straightforward. He's not afraid to say things. He's not afraid to name names. Like, he talked about, well, this was probably in different clips that I've seen on different platforms, because this is the overlap interview I'm talking about, of course. But I also saw clips from BBC Sport where he named players, bro. He was like, Casemiro, Anthony, Onana, Højlund. Like, he named people. When do you ever see this? Like, owners coming out and naming people. Do you know what I mean? He named Dan Ashworth. He named all of them, all the people that work with him, Dave, and he named them on a first name basis. So I've got to big him up, because not many owners would come out and speak like this. So I think it's a step forward, for somebody to come out, or like I said, somebody involved in decisions and part of the decision team to come out and speak. It's a step forward, because now we've got some clarification on certain things. If it wasn't clear already, certain things were clear to me already, but maybe to other people, it wasn't clear. Maybe after this interview now, a lot more things are clear. So I have to say, bro, I respect him for coming out and speaking, especially in bro, they did this a day. They did this a day after the Arsenal game when Man United fans protested. He could have said, nah, not now. Maybe in a month's time, maybe in 2 months, but not now. Like, the block's still hot kind of thing. He said, nah, a day after, yeah, let's do it. So I've got to big him up, man. He talks about the mistakes that they made as a management team and as decision makers. And again, yes, mistakes have been made. Yes, we all knew that Ten Hag had to go at the end of the season last season, even though we won the FA Cup. Yes, we know that the board or the decision makers should not have listened to the fans. They should not have taken that letter into account. Whoever wrote that letter, I don't really care. That letter should not have been taken into account. We all know that. But they still went ahead with it, and they paid the consequences, and they had to, come back on that decision and make a new one, which was to fire Erik ten Hag and his coaching staff. And subsequently, that cost the club £15 million, plus the sacking of Dan Ashworth as well, who they, in Ratcliffe's words, they didn't get along. There was no chemistry. And I could have told you that back then. In fact, I did tell people this when the sacking happened of Dan Ashworth. I said, this stinks of them just not getting along. This really stinks of Ashworth had an opinion, his camp, well, in his camp he was by himself, probably Ten Hag as well, and the other camp, which was Ratcliffe, Brailsford, what's my man's name? Jean-Claude Blanc, and Barada. Their camp, they wanted Erik ten Hag out. So they had two different opinions. And when you have four men up against one man, well, you get rid of the one man, and that's it. So he publicly admitted that that was a mistake. Now, obviously, it's a mistake that cost a lot of money. And he came out and said, listen, I apologize. However, on the flip side of that, you can't just come out and say, yeah, that was my mistake, my bad. Because to you, it's just a few millions, but to the fans, it means something. So I get both sides. So he talks about the mistakes. Then they get into the most important part of the interview. And the way I see it, I hear both sides. I hear what you have to know, first of all. What you have to know is Ratcliffe is talking from a business point of view. Like the way he's talking, everything he said, everything was from a business point of view, and everything was from a money point of view. So I get his side. He's a businessman. And when you conduct business, it's all about money. You can't really take feelings into account. As cruel as this sounds, and as harsh as this sounds, when you do business, you can't really think about feelings. Unfortunately, that's just the nature of it. Do you know what I mean? Gary Neville was coming from a moral standpoint, like morals and beliefs. And, I remember he said a phrase at one point. He used the phrase, Man United is a club that has a soul. And, all of these things, the core values of the club and all of that stuff. He came from that standpoint. However, what made me side a little bit with Ratcliffe, was in terms of, and this is in relations to all of the financial cuts that they made. The lunches, people losing their jobs, the pay cuts, the ex-players not getting the money that they used to get, Sir Alex Ferguson having his wage cut or completely his salary cut. Bare financial cuts at the football club, yeah? And Gary Neville was talking from a standpoint of, yes, but, the kit men and this and the people that have been working at the club for over 30 years, 35 years, etc., etc. And I'll go back to my point. The reason why I kind of side with Ratcliffe a little bit is because he used a phrase that kind of caught my attention. He was like, if they hadn't made all of these financial cuts, yeah, and I don't know if this is actually true, but, according to Ratcliffe and according to the finances he has the privilege to know about, if Man United hadn't made those financial cuts, yeah, the club wouldn't have had any money by November 2025. And when your owner comes out and says that, bro, alarm bells should be ringing, bro. So this is now my question to all of the fans that have been protesting and all of the fans and that say that Ratcliffe is in bed with the Glazers and all of these things. Okay, cool. I understand your point of view, but look at it from his perspective. Would you rather keep everything the way it was at the football club, but you're screaming Glazers out? Or would you rather have all of these financial cuts that Ratcliffe has been making, knowing that in the future, it's going to benefit us in terms of buying players, making things better at the football club, getting a new training ground or renewing stuff and new this and new that, or just have money at the football club available? Would you rather keep everything the way it is, but you're screaming Glazers out, or would you rather make those unpopular changes? Because he did say, listen, I'm probably going to be unpopular for a very long time because I'm making unpopular decisions, i.e. the lunches, i.e. not paying for the travel of people that work at the football club for the FA Cup final and all of these things. He's making unpopular decisions because he knows in the future, in the grand scheme of things, it's going to benefit the football club financially and will be in a better place, or United will be in a better place. And you know what? I hear him. And like I said, as much as I hear Gary Neville's side, yeah, you can't mix, especially with the situation that United is in, you cannot mix feelings and all of that stuff with business, bro, because financially United are in a horrible place. I swear Ratcliffe said something along the lines of, without making any transfers, yeah, next summer, if hypothetically speaking, if United were not to buy any player, they still have to pay £89 million in transfers of the players that came in last summer. Do you know how crazy that is, bro? Without making any signing, United still have to pay 89 million to other clubs for the signings that came in last summer. And you wonder why financial cuts are happening all over the club. Bro, it's only right at this point. So again, bro, I hear it. He's having to make unpopular decisions for the betterment of the football club in the future. And we might not see it now. We might not see it in 2-3 years. We might see it in 4 years. Because these things really take time. Do you know what I mean? So, listen, I hear it, man. I fully hear it. I was sat there just going, you know what? Do you know what I mean? Now, of course, fans are going to talk about the ticket prices that went up. They care about people care about the Christmas parties that got cancelled and this and that. Again, financial cuts have to happen in order for us to just have money available. So again, it's very unpopular. I don't know if this video is going to have any views or significant views, but it might just do, to be fair, because people are going to say I'm siding with the Glazers. No, I'm siding with Jim Ratcliffe. But I hear the points that he's making because I'm trying to think from a business point of view, yeah? And I'm not trying to put too much emotion into it, which is probably going to go into my next point. The fans. I think a lot of fans are putting too much emotion into this, which is causing them to think only about the emotional side of the game and not the business side of the game. Because by all means, if you want to keep everything at the club the way it is now, give everybody their jobs back, bring the Christmas parties back, bring the Easter parties back, pay for everybody's travel whenever we go to a cup final, pay for this and pay for that. By all means, if you want to keep it that way, fine. But you're going to see this club go into more ruins than it already is. And I think sometimes that's what fans don't grasp. Do you know what I mean? The majority of the fans just think with emotions because they have so much, because their love for the club is so deep. They would rather keep everything the way it is and just sweep it under the carpet. Yeah, sweep it under the carpet and then things get worse. And this is why, again, Ratcliffe said something stuck with me. And he was like, the decision he made to get rid of Dan Ashworth, he said, we easily just could have kept him at the football club. Well, I'm paraphrasing here. We easily just could have kept him at the football club and just went, all right, cool, we're just going to write this out. But he said, nah, I wouldn't have been able to live with that. So I'd rather cut ties and live, again, with the unpopular opinion. And yes, it costs the club a lot of money. But in the long run, we're going to look back at this and think, thank God we got rid of Dan Ashworth in maybe 3, 4, 5 years' time. So, again, like, from what I heard Ratcliffe say, he's very much focused on the future. And one thing you can't take away from him is the guy cares, man. It looks like and it sounds like he really cares. Now, listen, he could have just sat there and talked a good game, but he's not doing nothing. That's a whole different story. But you can tell that the guy wants to mean well for this football club. And again, this is coming from someone who wasn't particularly fond of him when the decision first got announced that Ineos was taking over and not the Qataris. But I have to be objective and look at things the way they are. So again, my question to United fans is, would you rather keep everything the way it is now, put the ticket prices down again, the way it was before, keep everything the way it was, the Christmas parties, the Easter parties, everything the way it was? Cool. But where are we going to be at the end of the year financially? Because we're spending more money than we're making. And anybody that's running a business knows that that's a recipe for disaster. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. So I think fans have to be very smart with the way they want to protest, because again, I'm not saying protesting is bad. If you want the Glazers out, by all means, you want them out, cool. But you have to know how to do it properly, because you can't scream Glazers out, do the whole march and sing and sit. And by the way, personally, and that's just my opinion, I don't think this singing is going to do anything, because how many years have fans gone to the stadium and just sang songs and songs and songs and songs and songs, and it's not worked out? And maybe it's the German in me. Maybe I'm thinking how to make stuff efficient, because that's how we are Germans. When we think about stuff, we think about making stuff efficient. Do you know what I mean? We don't care about all of the other stuff on the side. Maybe it's just a British culture, but this whole singing songs, thinking that it's going to solve anything, it's not going to do nothing. Like, you can go to Old Trafford and sing songs about the Glazers wanting to all you want, yeah? It's not going to happen. Joe Glazer's gonna... Yeah, you can sing that till the cows come home. It's going to do nothing. They're probably watching TV and laughing. So you have to move strategic about it. If you want them to lose money, I've said this a million times, don't go to the games. You can protest outside the stadium, but don't then attend the games. You've done nothing, essentially, by doing that. You've done absolutely nothing. So you have to move strategic about it. If you're going to plan a walkout, don't get twanged by stuff that comes out in the media and then switch decisions, and then you stay in a stadium because I want to support the team. Yeah, but you said you was going to walk out, weren't you? So why didn't you? So, fans just have to be mindful of how they approach this thing, I would say, But overall, man, I actually enjoyed this interview. I'm not going to lie. First time anyone has ever come out and spoken. When do we ever see that? When do United fans ever see that? So, I don't know, man. Maybe you guys think I'm crazy. If I am, let me know in the comments below. All comments are welcome. So, I'll have some fun reading it. But let me know what you think in the comment section below, man. It'd be very interesting to see what you guys think. Apart from that, you know what to do. Like, share, comment, subscribe. And I'm out, people. Peace.